Welcome to the Grounded Path, tools down, soul on, the podcast where we step away from the noise, the pressure, and the hustle and reconnect with what truly matters: your soul, your purpose, your peace. I'm Emma Muir, your alignment guide, here to share honest conversations, stories, and practical tools for men in construction and other high pressure industries who want to lead with heart, find balance, and live fully aligned. Each week we'll explore how to put your tools down, quiet the mind, and turn your attention inward so you can show up grounded, clear, and ready to walk your path with strength and soul. So take a deep breath, get comfy, and let's get grounded. Hey. Welcome to the Grounded Path with Emma Muir, me. Today I'm going to speak straight because, well, I always speak straight, let's face it. There's just no denying that. But this one really matters. And the truth is, from the inside out, the construction industry is breaking. It is stressed, it is time poor, and it's running on fumes. And that pressure filters to every single person on site. It shows up as fear, shows up as aggression, it shows up as shortcuts, and it also shows up as silence. And those things, they fucking cost lives. They cost families, and they cost the soul of the work itself. Because let's face it, there is such a soulfulness to the construction industry in terms of they're building things that benefit so many lives, and they build families, they build communities, they build relationships. And at the moment, that is all fucking broken. So I've watched 2 generations of tradesmen working together, an apprentice and a senior tradesman. And I've seen the breakdown in real time. The senior guy gets loud, frustrated, talking down to the apprentice. Like, you're not listening, you never listen, just do it right, you're always getting it wrong. And the younger bloke is trying to make sense of the different language, of the different approach. Now, he doesn't know how to ask. He doesn't know how to deal with the frustration or the high emotions or the feeling like shit because he's not getting it right. He doesn't have the words. He's also not the one who needs to be bridging the gap. But yet, he's the one left to carry the cost of it. And I get it. I see it all the time. Senior guys working in construction. Oh, they're soft and they're this and they're that. You know what? They might be a different generation. But it's not up to the kid to bridge the gap. He's the kid in this situation. It is up to the adult. And I think they're so under fucking pressure they don't know how to anymore. They're so under pressure that there's no time for them to bridge that communication gap. And there's no time for them to even think about learning new skills so that everyone can benefit on site. That's the reality. I've just turned up my volume, so hopefully it doesn't change too much. As I'm recording this, I just realised I started it with a lower volume. So anyway. Now, not so long ago, I had my own moment. One of the many things that I do in my life is I work part-time in construction. And it's incredibly helpful, and it gives me such deep awareness and insight into what's happening in the construction industry. And I'm on site for this as well. And I needed to tell someone where I was at, honestly and vulnerably, about my capacity that day and capacity to do a job. And I will share with you, it was about going up on, it was something that I felt like would be dangerous for me. I was feeling really heightened and I was experiencing a high level of anxiety. And so I knew my nervous system was not in a place where I could do this particular thing this day. I didn't get understanding. I got harshness. Basically being told that I was a burden because I needed to do it. It needed to be done and I needed to be the person who did it. And I got told that I was, it was very clear that I was making it hard for the person that I'd shared it with. Now I get the response wasn't about work. It was about the pressure being shoved down the line and a system that doesn't know how to sit with vulnerability. So instead of finding ways that we could solve this together, it landed on me, the person who had shared that they were struggling. And I had to, fight back to make sure my other shift was still okay, that I could still do other work. And so it was a really challenging conversation. But I want to share with you that on my side of it, because I have cultivated peace, because I have done the inner work, and because I continue to do the inner work, get to know myself, self-develop all the time, learn and grow, I didn't react and I didn't respond in a reactive way. I was able to stay really grounded and really calm and just stick to the facts of where I was at. And I let the other person be reactive. I let the other person not stick to the facts. I let the other person do what they needed to do, whilst I didn't step into that. I didn't step into their struggle. Because that's the reality. That's what the push-through mentality in practice looks like. When you're learning not to push through, you'll be on my side of it, that you can go, okay, this is where I'm at, and you're able just to really calmly keep moving through it. But this, on the other side of that reactive push through, it becomes normal and it becomes expected. When people go home and numb out, drinking, switching off, doing whatever they need to do, because the only way they know how to survive is to disconnect from the strain and stress they carried all day. And some people will smoke, vape, whatever they do. You pick it, you'll do it. And this culture, how did we normalize this? How did this become a normalized culture piece? Somewhere along the line, and look, I've got some great theories, like looking from a human design perspective, when you are in, when your design is the generator, which is someone who can just really hustle, and has an enormous amount of energy. And on the other side of it, me being a projector, I do need to rest and I'm not for hustle. And learning this has become the greatest gift for me. But, when I work with generators, and I love working with them learning how to slow down, how to take pockets of rest, how to stay focused on where their energy is going, it changes the hustle and the busy into being productive and to being focused. And there's a really big difference in there as well. So look, if you want to know more about that, there is going to be a link in the bottom for momentum sessions, and you can, we can do a chart together and we can have a look at where you're at and how to really focus on your energy, focus on a better way of work practicing. So, and for me, being a projector, I have worked in the hustle generator culture for a long time and learned that that's actually not for me. So, yes, that's a part of it, and that's part of how it's been normalized, but it's shifting and changing, and the construction industry will continue to break if we don't address this difference in the way people need to work. Because somewhere along the line, the hustle, the busyness started wearing this, fucking hard hat, this crown, and yelling became interpreted as authority, as I'm the boss mentality and you'll fucking listen to me. Suffering became mistaken for commitment. Gosh, not at all. And ironically, the things that used to be seen as strength, like endurance, grit, responsibility, mutated, morphed into a system that rewards risk-taking, silence, and emotional suppression. And they are still there today. And all we've done is create a WorkSafe that comes in and still fosters this hustle culture whilst the guise of safety. And tell me that I'm wrong. Like, I am so available for it, but you fucking tell me that I'm wrong. Because yes, WorkSafe has made it safer, but they've just created so many more problems, emotional suppression being one of them, because workplaces still, they'll toe the line, they'll do all the things they've got to do because they'll do it from an external point of view, but they are still not addressing the challenges that leadership has. Because leaders point to the system. They blame the workers, they blame the clients, it's the company's fault, it's the trade's fault, it's it's the systems, all of that stuff. Anything but the actual hard work of looking at themselves. Because that self-reflection rarely happens. The system keeps churning out the same results: low trust, compromised safety, and fractured teams. All the fucking time. See it all the time across all different kinds of trades, and I hear it all the time. My natural gift and energy is one where people will just share stuff with me, so I hear it all the time. I hear the human cost. Make no mistake, this isn't just about having uncomfortable conversations, not only with others, but with yourself. It's about safety on site. It's about burnout becoming inevitable. It's about the gap between leadership and the crew becoming a fucking crater, a canyon, the Grand Canyon. When a leader can't hold their own mental capacity and hold their own emotional capacity, they can't hold teams. You'll have turnover, you'll have despondent workers, you'll have low productivity. When culture rewards silence, people stop speaking up when it matters the most, because they fear their reactive leader. They fear, oh shit, am I going to lose a job? Am I going to lose hours? Am I going to be able to feed my family? All the things that sit underneath it. Reactive leaders create so much distrust, and it's not a great work environment. What we have now is a way to change the game, because we have ways to change this bullshit game, this bullshit system. So here's the good news. We don't need to stay stuck. We live in a moment where we have access to knowledge, practices, and support that weren't mainstream a generation ago. Emotional intelligence is not soft. It is quite literally the highest form of intelligence we have right now for running teams and organizations that are sustainable and safe. If leaders commit to self-awareness, just self-awareness, to learning how to communicate, to create systems that work for people of different ages, styles, to take responsibility for the culture that they create, that they seed, everything changes. Everything. With that self-awareness, the responsibility of the culture, leaders begin to see the holes, and then they begin to fix them. They also stop rewarding behaviour that puts people at risk. Now, there are practical ways to start this. There's a practical way to shift this culture. So if you're a leader in construction, and whether that's in your small business, in large organisations, start small and start fucking honest, because that's one of the biggest things that will stop people from moving forward if you're not willing to be honest with yourself. Notice how you respond when someone says that they're struggling, because you'll have tells and you'll have a discomfort, and it might be anger or frustration, and that's a real tell that you do not acknowledge when you are struggling yourself. Then ask a question that invites information and stops inviting shame, stops piling on the shame. So, in the example a couple of examples that I gave before, the question that the senior person could ask is, okay, mate, I feel like I've explained this a few times to you, but each time you're not really doing it the way I feel like I'm explaining it. Can you tell me what you understand on how to do this? I promise you, the question and the answer will take a lot longer than the fight that you think you're going to have. And this next one is incredibly powerful, right? Because I've heard business owners do this. I have watched them on site walk around to their team and do this very check-in. And I asked the question of the owner of the business about how long had he been doing this for? And he said since the conception of his business. And I said, what made you do it? And his answer was exactly what I know. It's exactly what I teach, but I wanted to hear from someone that was in the practice of it. And he said this: it might take me a minute, but then I know someone where someone's at for the rest of the day, and I can adjust. If I know, I've had workers here that are just having real family stuff going on, and if I know that, I know their concentration's less, and I can put them on jobs where they're not going to hurt themselves. So, a quick check-in at the start of the shift. And sometimes you might want to do it as a group. Often he said, I've watched teams do it as a group, but that can only be done once you have built up the trust to know that whatever you say, whatever you do is going to be accepted and be received and be acknowledged. And, the team can adapt. So at the beginning, I would say, if you've never done this before, do it individually. And it's 1 to 2 minutes of real listening. Not like, oh my God, I've got to get on with my day. Not, no, stop doing that bullshit. It's bullshit and it's not fucking leadership, right? 2 minutes of really real focused listening to what they are saying saves hours of rework and risk. And look, here is 3 questions that you can go with, right? The first one is really simple. How are you? And actually get them, no, mate, I really want to know, how are you today? Okay. And then let them fully answer. It's only going to take them like 30 seconds to answer. And then you'll be like, okay, what do you need? Based on their answer, they're going to know what they need from that. Yeah? And then the final question is, how can I support you? How can I help? They will know the answers to these questions. Really quick, if you've never done it before, those 3 questions, how are you, what do you need, and how can I help? Simple, right? And move from there. The next one is, when someone makes a mistake, treat it as an important moment of information, not a fucking moral failing. Like, they have made a behavioral mistake. It's not about them, as in, don't make it about the person. Okay, like I mentioned before, when someone makes a mistake, okay, I feel like I've explained this several times. Like, can you feedback to me what you're understanding from this? And then you can move. And then, okay, read into it, because it gives you discernment. It gives you the ability to see, maybe I need to break it down a little bit further, because there it is, right there. They're telling me what they do, but when they go to do it, it's like there's a misstep in here. Now, I've given you a really quick way to hold some of these conversations, but if you don't know how to hold these conversations, get help. Find out some support. This is one of the greatest things that I do with a lot of men, is actually talk about language that you're using and how to frame it, and to speak from a place of not stress, not freaking out, not actually be able to, because there are simple, teachable practices that actually shift and move culture. And this is what I do. Now, let's be clear here, and let's be real. There's no overnight miracles. There's no, I'm going to ask these 3 questions and everything's going to change on site. No, it's not. You have not built trust right now. So asking them, you're not going to get what you want. So just leave your ego at the door. But steady, consistent changes to your behavior as a leader brings steady and consistent responses and conversations from the people around you. Now, I've already mentioned a couple of times how I can help. And now, if you want to do this on a personal level, like if you want to start shifting, like really starting, there are resources and support available. The first one is, and the link is going to be in the show notes below, Path to Peace. It is a step-by-step guide of practices and awareness that help leaders build capacity, clarity, and a more resilient presence on site. It is personal development. This is about them. It's practical, direct, and made for people who actually work in pressured environments, because it helps you have an amazing understanding of yourself, and therefore gives you an amazing understanding of the world around you. Now, the next one is, if you want one-on-one support, I run momentum sessions. I also offer a focus laser momentum option. It's, as I mentioned before, it's a short, intensive 4-session package where the first session is 90-minute deep dive. We map current patterns, identify immediate tweaks, and implement changes that start seeding a culture of safety, communications, and presence right away. I don't publicly advertise the laser package. It is for people who want fast, accountable change. So you would book these in for a month. So from that first session to the third, it's in that 30 days, and you are going to notice changes already. There are momentum sessions that go over 6, and absolutely, it's completely up to you. If this sounds like something that you want, it sounds like something that you need and you want change in 30 days, then have a look at the link, click on it, book, let's go. So this episode landed and you want to go deeper, as I've mentioned, like deep. The links are there, all right? It's for, because it is. This episode, the work that I do is for leaders who are tired of the status quo. It's for the senior construction men who want to be better but just don't know where to start. It's for the apprentices who want a team that hears them. It's for the crew who want to go home whole. And it's for the families who want their people to return safely at the end of every day, at the end of every shift. For sure, we can keep rewarding the wrong things and watch the industry corner itself further into harm. Or we can begin to do the hard work and rewriting what strength looks like. That work starts with awareness, with accountability, and with people willing to lead from presence rather than panic. Thanks for listening and thanks for being here. If this episode landed, share it with someone on site. Pass it on to a mate who's in a leadership role. And let's start more conversations where they actually fucking matter. So, the resource, the episode, all the stuff is in the show notes below. Just remember, if you want to begin, you've got to begin. It's as simple as that. So I'm here for you. You've got to reach out and you've got to take the first step, because that is the most powerful thing that you can do. I'm never going to just DM anyone cold. I'm never going to do any of that. If you want this, you got to go after it. And I'm here for it. I'm Emma Muir, and I'll be here next time on The Grounded Path. Take care and stay grounded. Thanks for joining me on The Grounded Path. I truly hope that I've served you and you are able to put your tools down and really tune into your soul. If this episode brought you something valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone you know who might need this. For more resources, coaching, and to connect with me, you can visit my website, www.emmamuir.com, or hit the links in the episode description. Remember, peace starts within. Until next time, keep your tools down and your soul on, stay grounded, and enjoy the peace that you're cultivating here. Take care for now.